Hello, hello. Welcome back to Navigating the Shift. This is Annabelle and Sarah on a rather serene note today, I would say, even though I've got the forest behind me. I was doing an interview yesterday, which I wanted the forest behind it. It feels right today to be in the forest. There's a few things that are more centered around Australia that seems to be the what we'll look at today. We mentioned in the last episode the lady, she's a Lebanese lady, J.C.K., who is here based in Australia. Her parents moved here in the 1970s, I think she said. She's grown up here. And she's very, very psychic, picked up a lot of great information about the underground tunnels that we've talked about already. And last night, she had another vision that she needed to put out, which I've only just watched now. She'd said a few days ago, there's something really important that's going to happen on the 17th of September. And this vision came through the night before, 16th of September here in Australian time, and that it was important. The elder that came through in her vision of the original people, just a reminder again, we're using that term, not Aboriginal, which is many countries use that. That is the wrong syntax. It's like abnormal. It's like not original, which is incorrect. So we're going to call them the original people from here forward. This guide who came to her from the original people told her it was really important she has to get this out before the 17th of September. So I'll tell you about that, and I'll also tell you about something that I saw a couple of days ago, which was actually the main thing I was going to talk about. But let's talk about JC first of all. So in her dream, she was taken to South Australia. If you look at Australia, we've only got like 7 states, I think it is here. She was shown the middle of the desert where another original man came, and she said some technology came up out of the desert sand, like a disc, and he put a baby on it, and then she didn't mention any further, but I'm assuming it went back underground. Then she and the guide went to Pine Gap. We've also talked about that before as well. It's, I believe, in the center of the country and much, much deeper. The underground base there is far deeper than all the other ones where we've had earthquakes that are 10 kilometers under the ground. This one is even deeper again. And she saw 2 different rooms. One room had half men, half animals that were being tortured. They were screeching. And in the other room, it was original people of all ages. And she was crying. She felt the emotion of what was going on, that they'd been tortured and experimented on, that the goal of the workers within those bases was to take the essence of the original people. And she says this has happened to all original people around the earth. Whoever is creating this knows that the original people around the earth are powerful and at one with the earth. And if they can separate the people from the earth and then take the essence of those people or their DNA, or I don't know what they want from them, then if they can basically break them, then they can break all the rest of us, because the original people are the ones that are strong. And it immediately made me think of, Nazi experiments on gypsies. You think about the Native American people, the gypsies in Russia as well were all put through the same kind of torture. Can you think of any others, Sarah?
Not off the top of my head, no. But what I wanted to mention is the torturing thing made me think of one of those dreams I had that I know wasn't a dream, was a memory. And I'm in a temple, a beautiful white stone temple in Atlantis, and we're on islands. And the ship comes like from the sky, an advanced ship, and I'm a priestess in this temple, and we're positive good souls there, right? Before Atlantis turned a little dark. And these people land, and we welcome them because we're peaceful, and they ended up torturing us. In my dream, they had some kind of device. They put it on you, and it causes the most intense pain without ever actually damaging you. And it just went on and on and on. And mostly it was going into my right hip. And I ended up, after waking up from the dream, with a whole lot of pain in my hip, which had been a trouble spot for me historically. So the pain got so bad and went on so long, like days and weeks, that my soul just said, I can't do it anymore, and separated out. And I just thought, oh, how possible is it that this torturing they're doing is so bad, the soul separates out. And if you don't have that soul incarnating here, it can affect this reality. And that would be a really pretty good way to take away their power.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they were trying to do. Who are they? Why on earth would they do such a thing? the idea is to control the people, and if they don't have those strongest people as part of the whole, then they're easier to manipulate. But she said that a lot of the original people that were in this room were connected to the stolen generations. Now, if you have a look into that, that happened for probably at least 60 years, from 1910 all the way up to 1970s, where these authorities felt that the indigenous people were just not capable of looking after their children because there was too much drugs and alcohol and problems within the communities, which of course they introduced into those communities, right? And they can't handle it very well. I'm a New Zealander. When I came here, I didn't realize how very different they are from the Maoris in New Zealand. They're very different. The original people here have been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, whereas the Maoris have came in within a few hundred years and took over from the people that were there before, or ate them or something. But truly, they found a cave of an enormous cave full of bones, and the government ground them up for fertilizer and didn't want anyone to know about them. That's hidden in New Zealand. So yeah, they would go into these communities, say you can't look after your children, so we're going to do what's best for them and have them raised by good Christian families, and would take the children forcibly, little kiddies, the babies, take them away from the families, apparently adopted into white families, white Christian families. But what JC is saying, that it's possible that many of them just never got adopted. They were sent to these underground bases. So how long have they been going on? I don't know. But the good news is, even though that is appalling, this is what the whole of this awakening is about, is that we get to see how appalling it was. And we won't get to see all of it, but we will also understand that this is being resolved. And this guide at the end of her vision said, this is not happening anymore. No more, enough. This will never happen again. All that activity is completed underground. It's not there anymore. There's just security to prevent others from going in there. That's all that's paid for now. And that Trump has cut off all their funding. This is why they hate Trump so much. He's stopping all the things they've been doing for many decades, if not longer, in other areas.
Oh, much longer, yeah.
Yeah. So this is, now the other thing with the 17th of September, so she said that it had to happen by then. The other thing that I wanted to point out, even before I saw her video, was that there was a video that I'll point up and show you. It is of an Aboriginal man, and he's standing in front of some television cameras. So I don't watch TV, so I don't know if it's been on there. I don't think this is put up as big news, but it is significant. It is papers that have been served to the government. They gave it to security. That's the best they could do. It is that federal and state governments of Australia have been served and charged to stand down by the combined tribes of the original people of Australia. The tribes will no longer tolerate the 1973 founded corporation. We found information on that before as well. That was set up by Govt, was the Prime Minister who set it up in 1973. The Great Corporation of Australia, very much like the Great Corporation of America or United States, which has been destroying and poisoning the land and its people. These combined tribes plan to set up a new form of government which will serve all the people of Australia in truth, respect and honour, reinstating the Constitution of 1900. So even though it's just this little tiny video and there was a screaming kid running backwards and forwards behind him and just a homely thing, it's actually very, very significant. And I'm going to be watching to see what happens today and tomorrow as to whether the government will stand down for these people. They have asked, they want their country back. You can't just come in here with your guns and take it away. Enough. So this is
awesome.
Significant. Yeah.
There's some stuff going on in the U.S. too. Recently, I got an article from Fox, I think. Senate Homeland Security Committee authorized subpoenas for testimony from Obama officials as part of the Russia probe. So that's the Russia scam, Crossfire Hurricane investigation, and it's all the big names. The vote was, I think, 8-6, so it just barely passed. Some people didn't want this to happen. But it was passed, and it's Brennan, Comey, Lisa Page, Bill Priestap, White House Secretary Susan Rice, Peter Strzok, Kevin Kleinsmith. He's the guy who recently confessed to having changed information in order to get the FISA permission to spy going on. So things are starting to finally happen in this. It's been a long, slow process. Of course, you know, the media isn't talking about it. All they're talking about is during that amazing event where the 4 countries signed this peace agreement, which has never happened before, they weren't social distancing and wearing masks enough. You know, it's like
distraction.
It's important. Yeah. So I think basically the more I see, the more I think the black hats have been busted, maybe replaced, they're under control, because you've got Biden and Harris both saying, she said, oh, it's the Harris administration, and he said it's the Harris-Biden administration. It's like, you know, so I think stuff is coming around. Unfortunately, so many people are still clueless. And really, unfortunately, somebody I know who's one of those people, I recently spoke to them, and they said, oh, we just got back from training so I can go down to the poll in North Carolina, which they're having some voting pretty soon. And so we can make sure that the Trump people don't keep people from voting. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she said, because we're told the only way we can avoid violence is if Biden wins by a landslide. Any other thing, if it's close or if it's Trump, it's just going to be violence. They're going to do, or something like that. And she said only if Biden doesn't win all the way or Trump doesn't win all the way. Because the idea, I said, what, you think that the Trump people are going to be violent, but not the other side? She said, and then she repeated the same phrase again. Right. And I said, well, it seems to me that probably both sides would get pretty upset. We've gotten so divided here. She said, if Biden doesn't win by a landslide, the exact same phrase. And I felt that go up that I felt when I pushed a couple of hands against her cognitive dissonance wall. And I just went, okay, we're not going anywhere with that today. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Can they? I mean, even if you look at Antifa.com, it doesn't even go to its own website now. It goes directly to JoeBiden.com.
I thought about mentioning that, but I just thought, you know what? The tiniest little thing in that wall came up so hard. I knew any minute then I was going to start getting attacked. What I usually hear is, wow, I can't believe you're saying this stuff. It just tells you how good their propaganda is. That's what it is. It's their propaganda. It is. Crazy. So we're going to need to be really gentle and compassionate with a lot of people as this events unfold. It's really going to be hard for people. You know, when the cognitive wall gets bashed into, people are angry, they're confused, they can't see things, they lash out. So don't push, just be there, be compassionate, listen and go, oh yeah, I heard that too. Wow, that's really shocking. I get it. Yeah. You know, just if we do any of those, I told you so's, it's going to get really amped up.
Yeah. I'm thinking also that here we are in September, we're coming up to equinox, aren't we? Is that about the 21st, 22nd of the month?
20th, I think, Chris. 20th here, 21st in Australia, I think, this year.
Balancing point, right? Switching from one half of the year to the other. So it's interesting, I don't know why they've chosen September 17 for the significant things happening here, but
just wherever it was, it worked out, I guess. Oh, yeah. My person who with the cognitive wall also, I said, well, are you going to actually go inside? And she says, I haven't decided yet, you know, don't want to take any chances. This is somebody who's already gotten COVID, got tested, has the antibodies, and is pretty dang healthy. And then was explaining to me how, well, she had some medical appointments, but she always makes sure she gets the first appointment of the day. So everything's just been wiped down. Oh, and I said, but didn't you already get it? Wouldn't you be immune? She said, well, you know, there are such things as false positives. And they say some people can get it a second time. I'm like, oh, wow.
Gee. That's like those that are driving around with a mask on their face. You know,
in their car.
Yeah, I mean, some of them I've sort of, when they're walking down the street and there's nobody around, and if I come anywhere near them and I'll go, hey, you realize there's nobody here to get infected by? And they're kind of like, oh, and then you walk away. You know, you don't need to push it, you know, like, you should do this, you know. That's all you have to do is say something like that and walk away. Do you realize that you're cutting off your oxygen? It'll mean that you're not thinking so clearly. See ya.
Yeah. It's what they call hit and run.
Hit and run, that's it. Just drop a little seed in the ear, a seed that'll allow to grow, an idea in your idea. So that's really all. I think that's the most important things from me. I don't have anything. I think that this is the most astounding thing.
And that's over.
It's over. It's over. The equinox, the tipping point has happened right now. That's always the opportunity every 6 months. And this time it's really going to tip a long way, I think. It's been waiting a long time. So I just can't wait to see how this is going to work out. It's
going to be wild, but it's going to get better.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.